Time for a little X's and O's for this upcoming Indianapolis-New England game. I want to share with you why I love watching these two teams go at it, and why I live for things like this Sunday's game. Here we have the Colts on offense. You got Marvin Harrison on the right. You got Reggie Wayne on the left. Those are 88 and 87 in case you can't read that. And you got Dallas Clark in the slot. This is something Indianapolis loves to do. This is a formation that Indy uses more than most teams, that they really like doing because of the problems it can create. And you got the backup tight end, Ben Utek, actually lining up as the tight end. And then you got Joseph Adai, number 29, in the backfield. And basically what happens here is, on this side you got Marvin Harrison, a future Hall of Famer, on Asante Samuel, an upcoming Pro Bowler. But Harrison is a better receiver than Samuel is a cornerback, one. And two, the way the rules in this league are, they favor wide receivers. They've been like that for a little while now. Harrison's going to win this matchup one-on-one about 9 out of 10 times. That's just the rules of the NFL these days. So, you're obligated to give Samuel some help. For instance, bringing, I believe this would be James Sanders up over the top to help double cover him. Maybe you run a zone and use some linebackers in some way, whatever, but point is you're probably going to put two guys on him. Over here, same thing, Reggie Wayne. He's more of a possession receiver, not like Harrison, who's more of a downfield threat. Reggie Wayne is much slower than Harrison and is more likely to, make a lot of shorter catches and maybe turn them into yards after the catch. But he can go deep. He has burned team this year, like in the Saints game where he had 2 big touchdowns and against Carolina last week. So you got Ellis Hobbs on him, probably. And he doesn't match up with Wayne. No number 2 cornerback in this league really matches up with Wayne. You can't stop him with a number 2 cornerback. You can only kind of hope to contain him. Even Dre Bly. Even Sheldon Brown. Even, whoever. So, once again, you're obligated to help him out. In this case, I have the safety, Rodney Harrison, coming out over to help. Because, that's kind of what you're obligated to do. If you want to hope to contain Reggie Wayne, you got to put 2 guys on him. And what this does is this is going to free up the middle of the field because you got both safeties going out. And now for Dallas Clark, since New England is in their base 3-4, as you can see here, they don't have a third cornerback to, by default put on Dallas Clark. So they bring out a linebacker. Maybe it's going to be Mike Vrabel, maybe it's going to be Teddy Bruschi. Adalius Thomas is likely, given Adalius Thomas is one of the few linebackers in the league with enough speed to maybe stay with Dallas Clark. Maybe Roosevelt Colvin, who knows, but it's going to probably be some linebacker. You can't afford to bring a safety down because of what's going on over here and here. So, and what works here is that Dallas Clark, against pretty much any linebacker in the league, the one exception, ironically, would probably be Adalius Thomas, but even most of the time then, Clark has the advantage. Basically, a linebacker can't cover Clark. He's too big and too fast. And that combination makes him extremely, nearly impossible to cover for a normal linebacker. And then you've got to worry about Adai and Utek. So, at the snap of the ball, let's say Harrison runs whatever route. Let's say he goes deep. And of course, now you got the safety on this side and Asante Samuel following him. Let's say Reggie Wayne does this, he runs pretty far downfield and then he goes across the middle, bringing the safety here with him because he ran into his zone and also because the safety was watching over the top. So now you got Ellis Hobbs and Rodney Harrison going this way. And what this is going to do, let's say Peyton Manning drops back and play actions to Joseph Adai, who then, just goes up this way, ready for a check down if need be. And now what happens here is you got the middle cleared out because the play action is going to sucker the linebackers in. These linebackers are going to bite on the play action, and of course they got to worry about Ben Utek, who, he might be going out like this, let's say. He might be just running a little inside thing. And what's going to happen is this entire section is going to be vacated because the linebackers are biting on the play action, except for this one, who might be, just watching Clark and what Clark likes to do, he likes to go into the vacated section of the middle. Maybe he'll go deep right here. Maybe he'll just sit in this little area right here, and he's just going to go up the middle because everyone else is gone over there, and Manning might find him, and he's probably going to be open because that linebacker is not going to be able to keep up with him, and he's going to be open, and Manning might get him the ball. And there are other things that can happen here too. You could leave Ben Utek open because you've been on the play action. He'll throw it to Utek. If the safeties are watching the backfield and bite on the play action, Harrison will blow past Samuel, and Manning will go for that. Manning could go for this if Rodney Harrison over here doesn't follow. Maybe he'll even check down to a die. There are so many things that can happen here, but what they like to do is generate the mismatch on Clark and then get the ball to him. And as for the New England offense, they've been doing something relatively similar so far this season. This is a offensive formation they've used a lot this year and excelled from. You have Randy Moss, you have Dante Stallworth, and Wesley Welker in the slot, and Ben Watson at tight end, and Lawrence Maroney at running back. And what happens here is more or less the same. There is not... Speed demons are very rare in this league, and New England has two of them, and they're lined up outside here. So let's say you got Moss going deep. Let's say they run a play where they just have Moss going deep, and they have Dante Stallworth going deep. Now, this is one reason that this is going to happen is because the Indianapolis defense works this way, but Marlon Jackson's probably going to be here, and then you got Kelvin Hayden here. These guys cannot keep up with Randy Moss and Dante Stallworth going a deep route in their wildest dreams. Not in their wildest dreams. So, now in the Tampa 2 defense, which the Colts do run, the cornerbacks will only stay with the receivers for about 15-20 yards, and then go back to their zone, like around this area, no matter what the receiver does. And then from there, the safety will take over. So let's say you got, I don't know, who would be here? Antoine Bethea. And he's going to come over here, and he's going to take over responsibilities on covering Moss. And that in itself is a mismatch, because, Moss is 6'4" and faster than Bethea. If he, gets one-on-one with Bethea, he's probably going to outrun him. And even as a height advantage, of course, he has that advantage. And the same thing's going to happen over here. You send Stallworth deep. You've got Bob Sanders coming over, trying to cover him. And that's another size advantage. That's probably another speed advantage, maybe not as big. And, excuse me, yeah, that's pretty much what's going to happen there when you send those two guys deep, because these are just some of the fastest players in the NFL, and that's the only way you can stop them if they're going to run like that. And let's just have Maroney run a little out route over here in case of a check down. And the linebackers, what the linebackers do in the Tampa 2 is this one's just going to drop back over here, more or less. The middle linebacker drops back like a third safety, and the right side linebacker just, drops over here. It's basically a slightly more complicated Tampa 2. So, what Wesley Welker has done so far this year, he's been living in the slot because it allows him to run over the middle. But since you're facing the Tampa 2, where the middle linebacker drops deep, Welker is probably going to run just short over the middle. Maybe he'll just sit here. Maybe he'll, he's going to hang around in the middle where he won't be covered because, first of all, he can outrun any linebacker in the league because he's so quick. And that probably goes for any nickel cornerback in the league as well. And two, because the Tampa 2 defense indicates that the linebackers are going to drop back and play their zone. So Welker's going to run over the middle. He's going to be open. Tom Brady drops back. Hit him with a pass. Just an easy 5-yard gain at least. And Welker is great after the catch. He can break tackles. He can make people miss. So that could be a first down pretty much every time they execute this play correctly. So, you got two really... And that's not even taking into consideration Ben Watson. And, because of the way the Tampa 2 works and how fast Ben Watson is, he's, like Clark, is as fast as some receivers. He could just go up the middle here and get a pass up the seam. He could go over the middle with Welker. The possibilities here for both teams are endless, and this is why I love watching these teams.